Welcome to Niagara Gazette TV. In this edition, you'll meet a serial model who was 102 years old. And we'll take a ride on the free Niagara trolley, which travels throughout the region in the summertime. We'll also visit a feral cat spay clinic in Lewiston, and you'll meet Niagara Gazette Lockport Journal editor Mark Shear. But first up, meet this 102-year-old poster girl in one of our favorite videos from our archives. At age 102, Evelyn Poulo told Gazette columnist Michelle DeLuca she attributed her long life to eating shredded wheat every day, and that her dream was to be on the cover of a shredded wheat box. When the cereal maker found out, they made her dream come true with a one-time special edition. Her reaction was unforgettable.
I grew up pouring hot water on my shredded wheat.
Don't you use any honey?
I'm going to try that next.
Sous vide, USA only is sous vide. Don't get the other stuff. Sous vide. I've used it all my life.
Hand on the spoon.
That. Oh, got it.
There you go.
Jeepers.
And again.
You don't want me to bring, just leave it like this.
Yeah, look right at
Okay.
me. Big smile, right? We're making history here.
And 102.
Yeah.
Oh. Boy, that's something, isn't it? Look at that.
I'll put it in a frame for you after you eat them. Okay?
God, that's something, isn't it? Look at that.
What do you think
I
about your
know.
15 minutes of
Well,
fame?
I think I've had about 60 minutes, Michelle. All told. What more can I ask?
So you don't want to be a poster girl anymore?
Well, I might charge.
Tell me how it's been going this summer.
It's been going really well. We've had almost 22,000 riders, which is an increase from last year. So we're excited to see the shuttles either full or close to capacity when they're out and about and people connecting with all the great things happening here.
Guys, this is Niagara Art and Cultural Center. You got artists in there, you got teaching kids dance and art. There's a radio station, there's a cafe right there, the Artisan Cafe. And there's also an exhibit from the Underground Railroad.
Matthew Webb, who was the first man to swim the English Channel, he, after he swam the English Channel, he came here to swim the Class 6 Rapids. He tried to go across the Class 6 Rapids. He didn't make it, so he's buried there as well. And so there's quite a few daredevils, and because Niagara Falls is famous for that, and Oak Lake Cemetery is home to lots of history, including the daredevil history.
When we were kids, we used to go down there all the time.
Where?
Devil's Hole.
What'd you do down there?
Oh, just to get out. Watch them fish.
Yeah.
So the Castellani Art Museum has one of the largest contemporary art collections in Niagara County. In addition to that, Thomas Kiegler has an exhibit here all the way through January 18th that features the landscape of Niagara Falls.
They also have a Picasso in there.
They do, and they have a Salvador Dali as well.
And they got the very first etching of the falls, which goes back, I don't know, how many years, sir, you know? I thought the guy said almost 300.
It's got to be close to 300. You know, there's many different audiences that have been using the shuttle. We have locals, like these lovely ladies right here that are riding it. And this is actually their couple. You've already ridden it twice.
This is the second time.
This is the second time.
First time. First for them.
First for us.
Yeah. And we have people from around the country, which I think you witnessed today. We have Texas, Tennessee, and Ohio. Last week when I was riding it, we had a family from Uganda. We had a family from Germany, from Italy, and then also a couple nations in Asia. So there's always a diversity of people that are on board, and everyone just enjoys the experience.
Tell me what's happening here today.
We are having a spay neuter clinic for feral community free roaming cats in Niagara County.
And what does that entail?
That entails a lot of these projects are planned trapping projects where we go out and trap the cats on the premises. We bring them in, we spay, neuter them, vaccinate them, give them a worming treatment, flea treatment, ear tip them. Their left ear is tipped. That's a universal sign that they've been spayed, neutered, and they're a community cat, feral cat, barn cat, live outside. This cat lives outside and it's all been bedded. They leave it alone.
So don't bring her inside,
Nope.
leave her alone.
Leave her alone. Don't call animal control to come pick her up.
Well, people who love animals would find it hard to leave someone so pretty alone.
But she doesn't want to live inside. She was born outside, those are her elements, and that's where she lives. Actually, she lives on a farm. She's from a farm, lives in a barn.
The rest of the cats, how many cats do you have here today?
Today, I never do the total till the end of the clinic because I don't like to tell doctor how many cats we have.
Is this the right cage, Kelly? She might walk out. Is this the right cage?
Christy, who was on the table?
The one that done 8 females the one that has the word I written on the area.
Eight females so far?
So far today.
And how many males?
I don't know. I don't keep track of those.
So I'm going to say we have well over 25, probably close to 30 cats.
And who's the one who's been gathering up all these kitties?
Kelly.
There's your lady right there.
There's our lady right here.
Ruth, I got a live one. Or are you doing?
Oh, I'll do that for you. Yeah.
Let me do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing problem in Western New York, and there's not enough being done about it. Feral Cat Focus, who is located in Blaisdell, they're the ones that actually trained me and taught me everything I knew many, many, many years ago. When I lived in Niagara Falls, on our street, there was 37 stray cats in LaSalle.
Wow.
And everybody complained about the cats, and people fed them, but they never did anything with them. So through research and my friends over there, I trapped them all, spayed and neutered them, and their colonies still exist in Niagara Falls, but there's only 8 left.
And who's working with you today? All volunteers?
All volunteers. This is the beautiful Christy Ann, and I'm very partial because she's my little girl.
Aw, Christiane.
She is a vet tech. I have Ruth Miller, who's over here cleaning the instruments.
Hi, Ruth.
She is the doctor's mother.
Ruth Miller, you're the doctor's mom?
Yes.
Well, you must be very proud of all these people.
Oh, it's wonderful. What they're doing here is phenomenal. It's a great program, and that's why I volunteer.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Are you a vet tech or are you a volunteer or doctor?
I'm a chiropractor.
Oh! Wait a minute. You're a chiropractor.
And our friend.
And how did you get involved with all of this?
It all started when I met Dr. Rouet, and she was the troublemaker for me and threw me into a life of helping out.
And are you particularly fond of cats?
I'm fond of all animals, and I'm a big believer that we should do our best to keep our community cats healthy because they are indeed part of our community.
Thank you.
And identify
So
yourself,
what are you
princess.
doing?
We're waiting for her to wake up and maybe cough or gag a bit so we can pull her tube. She's been intubated. The females are all intubated.
Does she get ticked off? Do they get ticked off when they wake up?
Sometimes they do. Yeah, sometimes they become a little bit unruly.
Do we have any boys left?
Oh, but she's doing good, right?
Yeah, I think she is. We're just
And
waiting on her
that's Beth
reaction.
Branch.
And I'm Beth Branch.
Hi, Beth.
She is actually with another rescue, Pets Alive, Western New York, who
Little
is
plug.
also
Let me
my
see.
friend.
Ah, Pets Alive.
Yeah, my friend.
You're welcome. And we're friends, yes.
And Kelly, who do you have now?
I have a little boy that was born in a barn, and he is actually very friendly, but we are going to vaccinate him and neuter him today so he has no children. Huh. Yes. So he falls into a community cat program,
Got it.
because, yes. Here's a boy.
All right, we're not gonna poke him yet. Okay.
Kelly, while
Yes.
you're holding him,
Yes.
would you tell me, oh jeez, he's beautiful.
Isn't he beautiful?
Why do you do this?
Why do I do this? Because, you know, I love animals. I love all animals. Cats were not on the top of my list, to be honest with you, but the plight of the cat was so desperate when I moved to the city, Niagara Falls, where I lived for 28 years. And that's when I became involved with the cats. So I've been doing this 20 years probably. Have I, Christy, 20 years? 15?
So how many cats do you think you've...
How many cats have I trapped?
Well, we're in the 500s for this, and this has only been going on a year.
Thousands.
Wow.
It's a Donald Trump thing that goes billions.
But you know, I work with a lot of groups. A lot of people, a lot of groups. It's not just my effort. It's a lot of people over the years that have made this all come together.
You're so modest.
Wow.
She is.
She is modest,
She's
isn't she?
amazing. If it weren't for her, none of this would happen.
She's going to be canonized.
And this has only been going on a year, right?
This has only been going on a year, and that's Carol Tutzauer. Right?
Hello,
That's-
Carol.
She is, actually, she was the founder of Buckley Humane Organization, which became Pets Alive. The spin-off of Community Cats Alive, which we both are involved in. She works at University of Buffalo. She is a teacher, and any statistic you want to know, that's my girl.
That's right.
Can you tell me some statistics about these cats?
Well,
How
I
many?
can certainly. There's too many. No,
There's too many cats.
no I mean, basically, very few cats get adopted in shelters. In fact, 3 times more cats will be adopted off the street, so the main thing is we don't want them to go into shelters, so we get them fixed and put them back, and if they're cute and cuddly, people take them in, which is wonderful, and if they're not, they stay on the street so long as they're healthy and otherwise okay, and they've got caregivers who feed them and provide them with shelters, and everybody's doing fine so long as they're not having babies.
They end up just being beautiful creatures like raccoons or squirrels
That's right.
or
Yeah, absolutely.
other wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's fun to watch them.
I do too.
Running up trees and rolling around in the summer and
We-
scampering through the
We've
cornfields.
talked. If we were cats, we'd rather be outside.
I would rather be outside.
I would rather be outside.
Barn cat gets my life.
Barn.
But then again, I feel the same way as the humans.
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I like to be at the horse barn. So I think it's a great life for a cat, and there are a lot of barn cats that come in here that have good places to live, but they need to be healthy.
See, and it's human nature. People look at animals and they think, oh, they all have to be in the house, and that's not the reality. A lot of these cats do not ever want to be in a house. This is their life. They want to be outside.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic, as my daughter would tell you.
Anthropomorphizing
So we're
the
doing
cats
them a
with cats.
disservice by forcing them to be in a house and live amongst humans when they don't want to. So you got to try to think like the cat. And I had told you, if you go to Goat Island, there's 7 black cats and 1 is it brown tabby that live in the trees and they live underneath the rocks. The parks had me come out and do that colony about maybe 3-4 years ago, and there was a lot of repercussion because people thought the cats should be gone, they shouldn't be there.
Right.
There's still people that say get the cats off the island, but they're happy there. That's where they want to be. And if they leave, another colony will move in. That's just the nature of the beast, and people don't understand that neither. It's called the vacuum effect.
What about the cats that want to live with humans?
They should live with humans. I mean, I have 3 cats of my own. They all live inside. They don't want to be outside. And there's those ones, and there's the other ones that are, it's a hard sell to a lot of people. Especially in the municipalities where they should be helping their community cats and monetarily contributing to the cause.
But they don't.
Rabies.
But they don't.
I think it's absurd that I would like to see the government help pay for rabies vaccines.
Well, they won't.
They
I would
won't.
like it.
No, they won't because they think that the cats shouldn't be there. They think that TNVR.
And that's wrong with people too. When people call and they ask for help for us to come out and survey a colony to help with these cats, 9 times out of 10, Carol Tutzauer, they want the cats gone. That's right. We don't remove cats. There's nowhere to put them. We don't want them in danger, though if they're in danger, then, I mean, but
The shelters are already
they're
bursting
already
at the
full.
seams.
I mean, why do you want to tax the shelter?
By 11 days in a shelter, or about, actually I believe it's 2 weeks in a shelter, 90% of the cats will have upper respiratory from the stress of being in the shelter. So they don't want them in the shelter. Keep them outside. And more people adopt cats from outside than will adopt from a shelter anyway. So if we fix them and get them out, they're not causing a problem. They keep rodents down. which is wonderful. And they have caregivers that look after them, which is good. And a lot of people will take them in if they're friendly. If not, nobody ever really sees them too much, so, because they hide most of the time.
That's what I'm about to do.
It feels like a perfect plan.
I think so. Kelly and I started Community Cats Alive. I was founder of Buffalo Humane, but we left there when we started this initiative to kind of expand it and grow it. So Kelly and I have been working really hard to do community cats of late. So,
Are these community cats?
yes, they are.
Oh gosh, they're so
Little
sweet.
kittens.
I love loves. They don't really respond to humans, do they?
Well,
Some do.
some do, if they've been socialized with humans. Some of them have gotten some human attention, but a lot of times, by the time they're this old, if they haven't gotten any human attention, they're not going to be very friendly and make good pets. But these guys have obviously, somebody's handled them, so that's good.
Hello.
So they'll go back, and oftentimes the people that find them and look after them will find homes for the little ones.
I leave that on you.
Okay,
Just make sure the blood stops.
I have small cats as well. Okay, and this is Village Vet.
Yes. These are fleas and flea dirt.
Oh.
So she's probably got intestinal parasites too.
And Michelle, I wanted to tell you about Dr. Rouet, and she doesn't like attention brought to her. I do respect that. I did a letter writing campaign many years ago to all the vets in Western New York, Niagara County I should say, to try to get help for the stray animals, and I never got a response from any vet. She opened up 5 years ago, and I sat out in her lobby. I did not work for her. I sat out in her lobby and waited for her. She came out and I bombarded her and identified myself, and she said, absolutely, I'll help you. And so we've been doing this together for 5 years. Yep. You know, the ferals, when I have to grab them out of the trap and they're not out of it, I have this up to 5. Just so
You
you
put
know.
it right back down?
Yes, and I put
Right.
it right back down because they need that little oomph.
Oh, yeah,
to
they
go
do.
down, 'cause their will is amazing.
So he's getting shaved now, getting prepped. Watch his essentials. She's good at this.
He's just a baby, Michelle. He's just a baby, so they heal very quickly. They have to be 2.5 pounds. That might be good to know, to be spayed or neutered. 2.5 pounds.
I'm coming, Doc.
There you go. If you feed them, you must fix them, which people don't realize. They say they're not my cat. Well, once you start feeding them, you have assumed the responsibility of taking care of that cat. So it's your responsibility to be an advocate for that cat, which means spaying, neutering them, getting their vaccinations, and making sure that all that's taken care of. Because they can be nuisances if they're not taken care of properly. You'll be overrun with cats. So, and disease. They build a healthy county once they're all spayed and neutered. And that's what you want. And a lot of their problem, the spraying, the fighting, the howling, all of that stuff goes away. Henry is a cat that was trapped at Oppenheim Park, a neutered male, running around. Not real wild, but he does have a little bit of wildness in him. I'm going to assume, because I think I know everything, that he was actually somebody's house cat and they let him go. But anyway,
he wasn't neutered and he was probably spraying.
right, he wasn't neutered, so he was probably spraying in their house, so they probably just dumped him out at the park. So anyway, this cat has gotten into some fights, and we tested him on the fluke to see whether he had any diseases, and he does have FIV, which normally comes from fighting and sex between cats. So once you have them spayed and neutered and the fighting stops, that goes down to pretty much to 0 of being transmitted. So
Ready? Oh, good girl.
here.
There you go.
Can you put her in the cage?
Yeah, let's put her in the cage. He's 5. Because I put today.
She seems terribly docile.
She is, and she might be a feral cat that's just too scared to actually react.
She's a barn cat. So she's probably had interaction with the people on the farm. She's very well cared for. She gets fed twice a day. She lives outside with her family in the barn. So, yeah, so but she won't ever have babies again. Thank goodness. We don't need any more cats. This boy came to us from Wilson, and unfortunately he was he was an already neutered male. So somebody had him at one point and let him go outside, and his health has paid the price for it because he doesn't know how to live amongst the wild cats. So we updated his vaccines today. We gave him a bath because he was filthy with poop, and treated him for fleas and parasites and dewormed him. And hopefully it's okay, honey. And he's purring. He's purring, yeah. There's somebody looking after him, so he'll be okay. Hi, sweetie.
You're in charge. This is your rodeo.
My name is Mark Shear. I am the Regional News Director for the Niagara Gazette and the Lockport Union Sun and Journal, formerly the City Editor for the Niagara Gazette, and formerly the reporter who covered the City of Niagara Falls, the Niagara County Legislature, car chases, robberies.
So your background is in street reporting.
Tons of stuff covered.
Tell me-
Swimming meets when I was in Medina at the Medina Journal Register many years ago. Bank robberies, all kinds of things. Very interesting line of business.
How does your day begin? What do you do in the course of your day?
Like today, for example, I work on editorial writing and sort of getting the week together, figuring out what everybody's going to be covering, who's going to cover what events we have to cover, some of the things we might not be able to cover that we might have to find a way to cover.
Do you have enough staff?
There's no such thing as enough staff as far as I'm concerned. But we have a very dedicated small group of people who work really hard to try to do the best they can. And you can't get to everything. You can't cover things like we did in 1975 when there was 20 people or whatever working in the department. There's only a handful of people, and they have to cover a lot of things and really try to be adept at changing gears. And they might cover a council meeting 1 hour and a award ceremony another hour and do a personality profile another hour, and that's how we operate.
So everybody's doing a little pinch hitting everywhere?
Everybody's doing a lot of different things, and it's just the nature of the business today.
What's your goal as regional editor?
My goal is to inform people as best we can. My real goal is to try to get the information that nobody really understands or knows, because I think that's what really sets us apart. And that's the daily, that's the daily process of being in the news business, is trying to figure out what's really going on. And if we're doing our jobs right, we get after things that a lot of people don't want us to be talking about or aren't interested in talking about. And we get them out there and we let people decide for themselves, how they feel about what's happening. Again, with a limited number of people, it's harder to do those sorts of things and cover all the daily stuff that happens. So it's a real challenge.
Some people think newspapers are biased one way or the other.
I think that is basically true, to be honest with you.
Yikes.
I think most media is biased, but not in the way people think. Media is biased based on the idea that we're all people. I have preconceived ways of thinking, as does any reporter or editor. That is a given. What you have to do, if you're professional about it, is set that aside and do your job. And that's something that we don't talk enough about. The job is to try to get as much factual information as you can and present it in a way that people can digest it and understand it, because they're not going to go to a council meeting or listen as intently as we would, because they have jobs and they work for a living. And the idea that people who work in people businesses like we work in wouldn't have opinions or shouldn't have opinions or something, I think is just, it's an impossibility, because we're human beings.
But where do we put those opinions?
Well, we have sections for opinions. We have an editorial page. We have columns. I write a column, And, you know, I have my own opinions, and some people like it and some people don't. And I think that's what's great about a newspaper, is the fact that it should be a collective of all kinds of opinions and all kinds of perspectives. And, you know, when people don't like something, I tell them, write a letter. You know, I mean, you're welcome to participate. That's what we want. We want people to participate. And I think what's happening now is this idea that, well, everybody's biased in the media. Well, I mean, you know, on maybe a national level, there's some bias and things like that, and you're getting into Donald Trump territory and Hillary Clinton territory, but that's not really what we do. I mean, we're a local newspaper. So we don't really deal on that end. We're more about what's happening at your council meeting, at your legislature meeting, and, you know, frankly, I don't have that kind of time to think about how we're going to be biased against a certain presidential candidate or something like that. It's just not something I have the time to do.
Do you like your job?
Well, I love my job in terms of what I do. I've wanted to be in the newspaper business since I was 17, and I've done it somehow in Western New York, which is quite an accomplishment in my opinion, because there's not too many opportunities to do that. It's very rewarding when it's done well, and I think my staff would attest to the fact that I'm almost never happy with what we do. So that tells you how often I think we do it really well, because we just don't do it as well as I'd like us to do it a lot of days. And that just comes with wanting it to be better. So, but I like the work. It's very challenging. It's very interesting. It changes all the time. You can go into a day thinking, you know, here's what we're doing today, and then 4 other things can happen, and you're doing 4 other things that you never imagined you'd be doing. And that's just how it goes. You have to be, you know, you have to adapt to the day as it goes. Some days are boring and it's like drudgery, and you can't figure out what you're going to put in the paper the next day, and some days you couldn't find enough space for everything that happens, and that's just the way it is. So.
What are you making for me?
The nooch.
What's it called?
The nooch.
How's that spelled?
Nooch.
Tell me what people need to know about the nooch.
The nooch is a 14-inch burrito. Comes with choice of rice, choice of meat. You can get 2 toppings if you like, or a double of 1.
That is the biggest taco shell I've ever seen.
It's pretty big.
People eat that whole thing?
Oh yeah, we used to have a nooch eating contest as well.
Oh, you used to, no more, huh? Too
We
many
did it
people.
for Cinco de Mayo when we changed to doing tacos.
Okay, so you got brown rice on this
Yep.
giant. How many inches is that?
It's a 14-inch shell.
Okay, go ahead. Do what you do and talk while you're doing it.
Well, we're going to give you, we're going to go half chicken. This is ground, or this is grilled chicken. You get a scoop of that.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
And then we're going to give you, we'll go with shredded beef today.
Oh, perfect. That looks like a meal for a small family.
Oh yeah. Then we got black pinto refried and Cajun corn. That, we're going to give you some pinto beans as well.
That's a lot of, whoa.
Oh yeah. And this is the Cajun corn.
Cajun corn?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. Seriously.
And we'll go top it off with some lettuce, cheese. We've got homemade pico de gallo. Homemade. Vacuum seal it. Sour cream.
Oh, that's a piece of art.
And we got sauce. We got hot medium, mild, Pedro's death sauce, Frank's mango habanero barbecue.
Oh gosh.
We got ranch, chipotle ranch.
Oh, just go
avocado
medium,
ranch.
because we'll be
Okay.
sharing.
Probably could use some chicken.
Throw some medium sauce in there. Now the tricky part.
Okay, now you're gonna roll it.
No guarantee.
Looks very complicated.
Not really.
That's about, what, 5 pounds?
No, about 2.5.
2.5 pounds?
It's all about the tuck and the roll.
It's giant size. It's like a meatloaf.
There you go. It's the nooch.
The nooch. Thank you.